Hello, y'all. Welcome back to the podcast. So, as you may notice, the podcast has a new name, and I'm literally so excited about it. I can't even tell y'all how much clarity and how much peace and how much just feel goodness I have in my heart and my soul and my mind and my body from the name change. So I'll kind of explain a little bit more about the name change and where it came from. And then I kind of want to deep dive into today's topic, which is going to be about how to keep going even when business feels really, really hard. So before we jump into the topic, let's talk about the name change. So the 7-figure upgrade. I'm like so pumped about it, y'all. It really came from, I got some inspiration from one of my coaches, Connie. She's amazing. She helped me navigate, and she's a relationship coach for spiritual and faith-based women. And she constantly talked about you are the upgrade. And I really took a lot of that over the last year as I navigated a breakup in 2022 and just realized that I was worth so much. I was worth giving myself the love that I hadn't given to myself in an adequate way. And that if I wanted anybody else to see me as an upgrade or as the one or whatever it may be, that I had to start treating myself that way. And I looked back on my life and my journey, and every time I upgraded, whether it was a material item or my mindset or what have you, I expanded. I changed my reality. I expanded. I oftentimes made more money. And I realized that stepping into a new version of myself and allowing myself to upgrade and expand my capacity and expand my mind and expand my thoughts and expand what I believed was possible for me allowed me to create $1 million heading into multi-million dollar business. So the 7-figure upgrade was really born from understanding that getting to 7 figures or making 7 figures or whatever, it's not just about the money. It's about who we're being every single day. Mind, body, soul, our character, the actions that we take to create and make us who we are every single day on the outside and on the inside. I want to do a series to explain to y'all better on what the 7-figure upgrade looks like and all the integral parts, because later this year I will be launching a mastermind and we're going to be talking about all these parts holistically. Because one of the big things that I see a lot of traditional strategic business coaches, which I would say I've leaned more towards that way the last few years, is that they don't really look at you as a whole human. That's not necessarily their job, but I found that business is personal in a lot of ways, and you can't upgrade your business and your mind to match if you don't upgrade the other parts of your life to be in congruence with where you're going. So for me, the 7-figure upgrade is about a holistic approach. So it's about the strategy, it's about the practical mindset, it's about the spirituality, it's about the relationships that you have or don't have with yourself and with other people. And it's also about how you treat your body and your mind and who you're being every day. And I realized that the secret to getting more money and making more money and keeping more money is who I was being every single day. So that's really where the upgrade comes from. It's about who you're being, and there's a system to that, and there's a strategy behind that. And I want to show y'all how I've done it and how I can help y'all too, because it's not just in the words that you're saying, it's in the actions that you're taking, and it's in the true developed mindset that you have. And so many people don't get this, and I'm realizing that I want to show y'all from a strategic and a practical way how you can actually get here so that you are excited about your life again, so that you're grateful again, so that you can operate in your vision again. I've talked to so many women specifically lately, they just don't feel alive, and I don't want that for you. And I know there's always going to be things, life's always going to throw us a curveball, but if we can operate from a place of neutrality and how we show up and who we're being, and we're consistent in our efforts, and we create congruence between our businesses on and offline, our personalities on and offline, and just how we show up in the world, you're going to be a better person for it in general. So the 7-figure upgrade is here, y'all, and it's not just about the money. And we're going to talk a lot about money, though, because y'all know I love talking about money, but it's also deeper than that. It's this deep inner knowing that you truly get to have it all. Like, that's really where it comes from. And for me to be seen in a way, and how I see myself, I have to continue to get this new upgraded message out to the world. It's a message that's always been in my heart, but now it's really about sharing it with all of you so that you can create possibility for yourself, and more so just possibility, actually get the damn results, right? And be your own 7-figure upgrade, because you don't need anybody else doing it for you. You only need yourself, right? From a perspective of like who you're being every day. And obviously being held accountable and all that, that's going to be really important in getting mentorship and support. But as far as like who actually is in charge of your own 7-figure upgrade and your reality change and who you're being is you. Okay, so more to come about that, but I want to give y'all a little bit of back knowledge on where it all came from. So welcome to the 7-figure upgrade. I'm excited. Now let's get into today's topic. I really want to talk through how to keep going even when business feels really hard, because I've talked to a lot of women lately and a lot of them feel like business is really hard. And I want y'all to understand that that doesn't have to be the truth for you. And also your feelings are not invalid. Okay. I want you to understand that. So there's two sides. If you have ever heard of the law of polarity, if you guys have listened to David Nagel, he's amazing. I actually just got back from a conference, their business growth accelerator up in Charlotte, North Carolina, which was amazing. But we talked a lot about the law of polarity, how opposites always exist. So what I really took away from that, and he talks a lot about this on his podcast, so we'll leave the link in the show notes, but literally you can go pick any of his podcasts and it's gonna blow your mind. So go pick any of it. It's gonna blow your mind. You're gonna love him. Like, I love him too. But when we think about, the law of polarity, it really is that like opposites exist. So if something's good happen, something bad could happen. If there's one side of a piece of paper, there's another side. If there's one side of a stick, there's another side. Opposites can't exist, right? A sandwich, a piece of bread doesn't have one side, right? So when we think about the law of polarity, and he explains this way better than I do, because I'm still getting to understand it from a deep perspective, but from a high level perspective, it just means that opposites exist. So what I want y'all to think about when you're feeling that business is hard, I want you to think about when business didn't feel hard, when it felt good, when it felt easy, when it felt flowing, when it felt like you were on top of the world. I want you to go back and put yourself into that mindset of how that felt, what that was like, and what the feeling was in your body. I really, really want you to get back to that place. The reason why I want you to get back into that place, because I want you to basically recall that into your life. I want you to recall those feelings, those emotions, those memories back into your life so that you can start to feel in your soul, your mind, your body, and your being, feel it again, right? Because you felt it before, and we're at this point where you get to feel it again. And when we think about the law of polarity, while yes, this one vice is true, or this one position is true, that it feels hard right now, what about your business feels easy? And I want you to, again, pull those thoughts and those circumstances and those situations from previously and pull it into present day, right? Even if you can only pull it in for 60 seconds or 5 minutes, and then you're back to like not feeling so great, I want you to pull that in, because I want you to really sit with the idea that it doesn't have to be so hard. And I know sometimes when we're going through the shit, it can feel so difficult, and it can feel so down, and it can feel like, what the hell? Why am I even here? Like, why am I even operating in this way? But you have gotten through your worst days, and you will continue to get through your worst days and your best days and every day in between. So understanding the law of polarity, that opposites do exist, if we sat and really looked at that from a perspective of what's actually happening, that the hard, even in the hard, something good has to exist. What's good about it? Maybe business is a little bit slow, but does that mean that you get to refine your curriculum? Do you get to slow down and spend time with your kids? Are you spending and slowing down and taking time for yourself? Are you looking at and finding new opportunities on how to improve your business, and when you were so busy you didn't have any time? Right? What are the good parts about it feeling hard right now? And I know maybe some of you may think there's nothing good about it. Well, there is. And you get to be the conscious creator of that mindset and those thoughts and those patterns and those beliefs today. Okay, so now that we have a good understanding of that, this is how you stay committed and stay focused when it gets hard. It all goes back to your vision, okay? And this is how you keep going, because at the end of the day, you guys, shit's gonna happen, period. Like shit always happens. I had some shit happen this week and I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucks, right? But I also reminded myself my why. I reminded myself why I started and why I launched this business in the first place. It wasn't for no reason. It wasn't just because. And when I look back at my vision and my mission inside of our business, is that it's to help other women create wealth, the wealth that I had started to experience, and the financial freedom I had started to experience at such a young age. I wanted other women to experience that no matter how old or young they were. I wanted women to see that they didn't have to be dependent on anybody else for anything else outside of themselves. I wanted them to know that living a life of luxury and freedom and being able to do what they want when they want is the most valuable life you could have. That's why I started this. So in the moments, y'all, and in the time when I feel like F this, I remember why I started. I remember where I came from. Oftentimes, we don't give ourselves enough grace from where we came from. We look at what's next, because we're entrepreneurs. That's what we do, right? We're innovators. We're creators. I get it, y'all. I freaking have a notebook of a million different ideas, business ideas, ideas for my current business ideas that I could sell to people. Like, I have a lot. Notebooks, notes on my iPhone, everything. But what brings me back to center and what keeps me grounded, especially when times are really hard, especially when maybe you haven't had the best client, or especially when business feels slow, is A, getting back to my vision, and B, getting into a place of service. Getting into a heart and a mind of service and reaching down and helping somebody that needs help for free, or reaching down and giving some advice on somebody's comment, or spending time creating content that's going to serve people with no call to action. Right? Getting my body and my mind and my soul back into a place of just full body service is what always propels me from getting out of that place of this feels really hard right now. Right? So that's one of the things that I do. I reach down and help people. I serve. I create content. I get into a place of creativity and I let that creativity flow when it feels hard. I give myself grace. I go on walks. I move the energy through my body. I eat food that is high vibrational food. I say no to things that don't light me up. And I take a good look at my calendar and I say, this doesn't light me up anymore. Why am I doing it? And I ask myself the question, what do I really want? Because sometimes business feels hard because we're out of alignment. And that's not always the case, you guys. Sometimes business feels hard just because it's business, period. Okay, so you have to get to that place of discernment. And a lot of times I get asked that question, well, how do I know? It's practice, you guys. You have to practice listening to your own voice, making decisions, understanding what's good for you and what's not good for you. And that comes from getting in tune with your own body. A lot of times as women entrepreneurs, we're doing so many things for so many people all the time. We forget to slow down and check in with ourselves. How does this feel in my body right now? What do I need right now? Do I need a drink of water? Do I need a healthy meal? Do I need to sit in the sun? Do I need to ground and put my feet in the grass? Sometimes we never stop to give ourselves what we really need and want because we're doing it for everybody else. Oftentimes, business feels really hard because we're not actually prioritizing the reason we got into business in the first place, which is to serve and make a lot of money, to do both, right? So I want you to look at your calendar right now. If you're sitting down, if you're driving, save this activity for later. But I want you to look at your calendar right now and look at what's lighting you up. And then I want you to look at what's not lighting you up, what's not in alignment with your vision, what's not serving your highest good, what's causing you to feel frustrated and defeated, and I want you to get rid of it somehow, some way, immediately. Not next week, not in 2 weeks. I want you to do it today. Because regardless of any other thing that you do, if you're having to continuously do things that don't light you up and don't fuel your soul. Now, this is a difference between something that's hard, that's necessary for the business, like talking to people in the DMs or getting on calls or whatever it may be, serving clients, of course, but things like coffee chats or things like going to a networking events that you don't want to go to. You have to start practicing the word no for other people and the word yes for yourself. Because business feels hard because there's something that you're doing or not doing that's making it feel the way that it's feeling. Okay, so I want you to completely demolish your calendar in whatever ways that you need to so that you can get back to your truth and get back to your goals and get back to your vision. I really want you to look at slowing down to speed up. So I'm currently reading the book. I'm only a couple chapters through. I'm reading the book, The Power of One More by Ed Milet. And it was one of my friends posted about it on Instagram. So I was like, oh, I'm always in the market for a good self-help book. And I haven't watched a lot of Ed stuff, but I've heard great things. So I picked up this book and I'm a couple chapters in, and in the book, and I'm going to pull up the book here. He talks about slowing down and speed up, which we've all heard before, but he really talks about it in a way, and he makes a really great analogy with the movie The Matrix. This is on page 37, and he says this: if you're an entrepreneur, you already train your brain to look for opportunities, not roadblocks. You seek ways to connect to disparate services, products, or relationships in a way that will make you money. To some degree, your matrix filters out all the people who are not good candidates for you to work with and instead focus on the ones you are most compatible with. Think about what could happen if you became even more focused on this. Would the quality and quantity of your deals rise? Would you put more money in your pocket at the end of the year? Based on my experience, yes, you would. I'm a big believer that everything you need is already in and around you right now if you could just put in the work to see it. And this is really powerful because oftentimes, right, think about it. And he talks about in the example, and I've talked about this before too, is that, when we think about from a mind perspective, so with your RAS, reticular activating system is essentially the system that gives you a filter to what's important in your life and what's not. That's basically what it is. So I'll give you as an example. So when I wanted to buy my new car that I bought in June of last year, my Range Rover, about a month or two before, I've been wanting a Range Rover for since I was 18. Y'all, I don't know if I even told this story in the podcast, but I've been wanting that car since I was 18, but I didn't have the money for it. It was always like, oh, you don't need that, blah, blah, blah. And I just never bought it. I could have probably bought it in 2020, but I just didn't want to be one of those entrepreneurs that just got some money and just started spending it all. So I didn't buy it. And I think that was the best decision for me at the time. But this last year in 2022, I really started to see with my RAS or my matrix, I really started to see the possibility of what life would look like if I got that car. And I literally, how many times have you guys wanted something, right? For me with the Range Rover, I saw the damn car everywhere. Everywhere I looked, I saw the exact one that I wanted in our apartment complex. And I was like, that car was never there before. And now it's there every day. It was literally 3 garages down from my car. Or from my garage at my apartment. And I was like, no freaking way. There's no way. And that's kind of what happens when you think about something and you want something, you start to see it over and over and over again. So how many times have you guys thought about something and you've seen it, or you thought about somebody and they called, or you thought about, you saw a red little Junebug car and now you're seeing red Junebug cars everywhere. It's the same type of process. So, Ed Milet kind of breaks it down really well in the chapter 2 of his book. So you guys should definitely check it out. But we've all heard of this before. So when we think about business being hard, how I want to relate this is that if you think business is hard and that's all you think about all day long, it's how people don't want to work with you, they don't want to buy, or that it just feels hard, or everybody's this or everybody's that, you're going to continue to find evidence for that because that's all you're seeking, period. And that's the honest truth. But on the flip side, you have the power to do something about it, right? You have the power to slow down, smell the roses, find gratitude. Gratitude is a secret to getting out of that energy. To finding evidence for why business gets to be easy. Oh, I just made a sale. Oh, that person paid their payment on time. Oh, that person sent me a DM and complimented me on my copywriting skills, or whatever it may be. You start to find evidence for why it gets to be easy. Because if you're going to fight for the negative, you got to fight for the positive. Period. I say all this to say, when we think about business feeling hard, this isn't to say that it's never going to feel hard again, you guys. This isn't to say that it's just going to, with a flip of a snap, that it's just going to be the easiest pie. But this is to say that it comes back to us being in control of our reality and being in control of our goals and our outcomes and our desires, and putting the actions and the behaviors behind it and the mindset. Because if you don't have the right mindset, it's pointless to do anything else in life. And you are being looked at as a leader. You're being looked at as an expander for people. You don't know who's watching you. So one of the things that Beyonce, I can't remember where she said it or in what context, but she says she gives herself, I believe, and don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure what she said is that she gives herself one day to wallow and be sad, and then she gets right back up. So I want y'all to give yourself one day, one moment in time to wallow and be sad and be human, and always be human, of course. But from there, I want you to go into, how can I solve this problem? Because you were wired as an entrepreneur. That's literally why you're an entrepreneur. You solve problems. Okay? And you make a profit off of solving those problems. So I want you to look at your circumstance as either a circumstance that's going to keep you stuck, that's going to keep you unhappy, that's going to keep you in this hard mindset, or I want you to look at it from a place of, how can this be great? How can I change lives with this? How can I tell my story about this? How can I turn my pain into promise? How can I turn it into a story that's an expander for somebody else? That's what I've done, right? That's what I've done. So I want you to realize that your hard right now doesn't have to continue to be hard. Keeping going is what gives you the ability to say that you did it. It's what gives you the ability to stand up in the times of adversity and know that, like, this ain't gonna rock me. I know what to do. Even if you don't know what to do, it's not going to rock you, right? You shouldn't only love your business when it's easy. You should love your business when it's hard, when it feels tough, when it feels unsettling at times. You should love your business through and through because of the vision, because of why you're here and what you're doing and how you're serving, okay? So I know it feels hard for some of you right now, and that's okay. There's moments in my business, like this week, it was some really hard moments, but oftentimes when something feels really hard, it's so funny. The universe often is testing you to make sure you still really want it. They're going to test the shit out of you. And you're going to keep going anyway, because you're made for this. I need y'all to remember, you are fucking made for this. You are made for this. Nobody else has your exact desires or wants. Only you. So I want you to lead with that today. I want you to lean into that today and lead with that today, and recognize that God never gives you more than you can handle. Okay, so find gratitude for what is good today. Find gratitude for what's hard today. Find gratitude every day, and realize that you're going to get through this and you're going to come out on top, stronger than you ever have been before. And it's going to all be worth it at the end. Okay, so I love y'all. Thank you for listening to the podcast. You can do it. You're meant to do this, and you will do it. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.